People don't reach back out. People ghost me, da 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 da. And then you got the people who are like, I just don't have time. I'm so sorry to my friends that I keep ghosting. Y'all are so full of shit. And the reason is you haven't decided that your health is important enough to do things differently. Stop blaming other things and other people for the action that you're not taking, because this is your life. And there might be factors, there might be reasons why you're doing this, but at the end of the day, the results are the results. They speak for themselves. There's a problem here. And if you're blocked, investigate that. Why is it so hard for you to take this action that you know would save your life? Okay, so we're in a loneliness epidemic, if you didn't already know. According to the US Surgeon General, social isolation is as harmful as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. But loneliness is not just about lacking social interaction.
Loneliness has been defined by the great psychologist John Cacioppo as the distress that results from discrepancies between ideal and perceived social relationships. It's when we expect things to be one way and they're actually another way.
Social isolation, according to Andrew Huberman,
is stressful. And one of the hallmark features of social isolation is chronically elevated stress hormones like adrenaline, also called epinephrine, like cortisol.
And as a result, social isolation for prolonged periods of time can actually weaken your immune system. So a couple of things can contribute to the loneliness that a lot of us are feeling right now. Convenience friend groups. If you're like me, when you graduated from high school, it kind of hits you all of a sudden that you were actually going to have to make an effort to maintain your friendships with these people. You saw these people every day for 12 years, and so you just became friends just from proximity. Once you graduate, everyone kind of splits off and does their own thing. We've got social media, which kind of gives us the illusion of social connection, but it's, surface level, and it doesn't actually give you the benefits of real life interactions. Another thing is a significant decline in this thing called third places, actual spaces that we can go and hang out with other people. Then people just not having time anymore because they're constantly at work. I just wanted to go through what you can do to start making friends as an adult, because it's something you have to make a decision you're going to do. Cutting off your old friends is like this new age, like spirituality, self-development stuff. Oh, let's cut everybody off because they're all toxic and they reaffirm my old identity. Now, I get it. Some of us actually do have really toxic friend groups or family members, but there's a lot of resistance to going out to places and like talking to strangers. So if you have old friends that you kind of vibed with but never really took seriously, or you fell off with communication, go back to your old friends and see, like, who have you not texted back? Who did you ghost on? Because a lot of times I felt like it was me who got ghosted on, but then I went back to the thread and realized I was the one who ghosted. Go back to those friends and see if you can rekindle the relationship. Look at what they're doing on social media. See if you can make a connection to what they're doing. This article from WonderMind, they basically said, when you're an adult, you have less time, so you want to prioritize friendships that are quality versus quantity. Ask yourself, what do you value? How have your values changed since you first started talking to that person? Is your current friendship in line with those values, or do you need to shift and maybe look for some different friends? That's something that you can start to ask yourself. And then number two, obviously, was the feeling sorry for yourself, right? So actually journal. Sit down with a pen and paper and write down what are all the blocks to actually taking the action. If you made a list right now of all the potential things that you could do to resolve the loneliness you feel, you would probably have a pretty solid list of ideas. So it's really not the ideas that you need. The reason you don't solve the problem is because of the blocks. It's because of the stories. Actually sit down and write those fears down. They're on vacation in Dubai and they went without me. They look busy. They're dealing with a relationship issue and I don't want to get involved. I don't want to hit them up because I don't want to double text. If you write those down and start to counter them with the factual evidence, you'll see that a lot of these ideas are your own baggage, your own self-esteem. Number three, you could look for less deep connections. If you feel like you have no friends, then try acquaintances to where it's like surface level. Think of someone that you haven't thought of. Think of someone that you've never considered as a friend, because a lot of us are hung up on like one person, one group of people, and what they're doing, instead of just thinking, okay, what about who else is there? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. When you're obsessing over the one flower in the field and not seeing all the thousands of flowers in the field, that's when suffering comes. So I'm a little bit on the spectrum, and I was always like getting in my feelings because that one person that I was banking on and providing me with that social interaction was busy. How dare they have like goals and responsibilities and work? I found that having a lot of different friends means that people are just generally more detached. For me, I was just so intense intense. I was like, you are my best friend and we have to do everything together. When it wasn't the way I was expecting it to be, I was getting in my feelings about it. So if you have a lot of connection with others, it puts less pressure on any one connection that you have. You don't need everyone to be your best friend. Now, obviously, like, people do crave intimacy. They do crave like deeper connections. A lot of this pain, I guess, can be alleviated from having a balance between deeper friends that you can open up to and friends that you want to be surface level, to just provide you with that social interaction on a day-to-day basis.
Social connection can and should come in various forms of brief interaction, more superficial interaction, and forms of deeper interaction. All of those are relevant to our states of happiness, and there's research to support that daily interactions with somebody at a cafe or just a brief hello or a smile, provided that we are both present, can have a positive effect on people's overall well-being, and not just in that moment, but consistently.
Okay, for this next one, I'm outside because it's leave the house. Stop getting all of your social interaction from social media. Stop getting all of your connection from these parasocial relationships that you're forming with YouTubers and content creators or celebrities. That's not helping you. It's like the easy way out. Like, when you're working and you don't have as much time to plan to go out with your friends, it is so much easier to just come home, especially on the weekends, and just scroll or watch shows or movies on streaming platforms. It's faster to get your dopamine that way than to like plan to go hang out with your real life friends or to go talk to strangers and make new friends. Join a club, join a community sports team, or volunteer at some type of organization. Like, for me personally, I started pole dancing and it helped me a lot to have something that I was interested in. So don't put all of the pressure on making friends. Put more of the emphasis on finding an activity that you enjoy. You guys can just go enjoy the thing that you enjoy and just enjoy it together. If you're not comfortable going out and talking to strangers, try an app first, like Bumble or Hinge, where you're meeting one person in a cafe or something and you're both going to be nervous. It's going to be fine. A lot of times you have a profile of them and a couple of conversation starters. I met a girl who's a fashion designer named Gabby. So yeah, we met, we got some food, we talked for a little bit, we parted ways, went back to our lives because we're both busy, and then we do it occasionally and it's normal, it's fine, everything's fine. Real quick, I wanted to include here a word about ghosting because I've seen a lot of posts on social media. If you're getting butthurt because you've been ghosted, you're full of shit, and if you don't have time, you're full of shit. The reason I'm saying this is because I've taken bold stances before in my life. If you're the person getting your feelings hurt because another person doesn't have time for you, there are things you can do to get that social connection elsewhere. Anybody who's like internalizing this or personalizing it needs to fucking get a life. Like, I'm gonna be honest, because the times when I was feeling this way are when I was playing the victim. I was basically saying like, oh, other people should check in on me, but I wasn't checking in on other people. I was just feeling sorry for myself. A lot of times when you're feeling sorry for yourself, you're not going to do the things that you know you need to do. Some part of you is still attached to that story. I'm lonely and I have no friends and nobody cares about me. And like, a lot of this is tied in with your self-esteem. And I'm literally being so harsh because I'm talking to my old self who would literally mope around and talk about how I had no friends, I didn't, like, nobody cares about me and all this shit. And it's unfounded. A lot of people are not having these third places. So what do? You create it. A lot of it is just the passive victim mentality of it's someone else's responsibility to solve this. If social isolation is just as harmful as doing something that's blatantly harmful to your body, it's really about taking your health seriously. It's about taking your life seriously. Like, if you really want a solution, it's just a decision you have to make to shift your identity to the reality you actually want to be in.